3 days later, the court reconvened. Akthar stood in the center of the room, ready to make his closing statement. But there was a stir at the entrance as Kang walked in. He looked tired but walked with his head high. "Captain Kang," head Judge Exor said, "we had heard you were in the terrorist sector." "I was, Your Honor," Kang replied. "I have just returned." Whispers filled the courtroom. The terrorist dispute had been considered unsolvable. "And the outcome?" Judge Exor asked. "Peace," Kang said simply. "Both sides have signed an agreement to share the asteroid field." Even Akthar looked surprised. The insect judge clicked its mandibles rapidly, a sign of interest, according to Han's information. "We will hear more about this later," Judge Exor decided. "Now, Chief Prosecutor Akthar will present his closing statement." Akthar moved to the center, his forearms gesturing dramatically. "Honored judges, the facts remain clear. Humans are Deathworlders. Their biology, their instincts, their history, all make them unpredictable and dangerous. One diplomatic success does not change their nature." He pointed at Kang. "Captain Kang may have good intentions. Individual humans may be peaceful, but as a species, they represent an unacceptable risk to our galactic peace. Their rapid expansion must be controlled before it is too late." Akthar's voice grew louder. "I ask you to protect our peaceful galaxy. Restrict human territory. Limit their ships. Monitor their activities, not as punishment, but as necessary caution against a species too dangerous to roam freely among the stars." He bowed and returned to his seat. Many aliens in the audience nodded in agreement. Judge Exor turned to the human table. "Dr. Yuna, your closing statement." Yuna walked to the center. Unlike Akthar, she carried a small device in her hand. "Honored judges, I could argue against each of Akthar's points. I could cite laws and precedents, but instead I will show you humanity." She activated the device. Images appeared in the air around her. Humans throughout history. "Yes, we fought wars," she said as images of battles appeared. "Yes, we have known violence." The images changed to show human cities rising from ruins. "But we also created art and music. Beautiful paintings and musical instruments appeared. We healed the sick, doctors in hospitals. We explored our world and beyond. Ships and spacecraft. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day," Yuna continued. "That didn't make us monsters. It taught us to value life precisely because it's fragile." The images changed to show a mother holding a baby, a firefighter saving a child, an old man planting a tree he would never see grow. "The prosecution fears our strength, but they ignore how we use it." New images appeared. Captain Kang in the terrorist sector, sitting between two alien leaders, patiently negotiating peace. 3 days ago, Captain Kang chose to help solve a dispute that had nothing to do with humans. He went unarmed. He listened to both sides. He found a solution that benefited everyone. Yuna looked at each judge. Is this the action of a dangerous predator, or of a species that belongs among the peaceful races of our galaxy? She paused, then asked, "What makes a species dangerous? Is it strength, intelligence, adaptability? No, it is the inability to control these gifts, to use them wisely." The final image showed Earth from space, a blue and green jewel against the darkness. Humanity asks for the chance to prove ourselves not by our biology, which we cannot change, but by our choices, which define who we truly are. Yuna bowed and returned to her seat. The courtroom was completely silent. Judge Exor floated forward. "The court will now deliberate. Our decision will be announced tomorrow." As they left the courtroom, Director Park looked worried. "It's in their hands now." "We did everything we could," Yuna said. Kang nodded. "Now we wait." That night, none of them slept well. The fate of humanity rested on 12 alien judges who had never set foot on Earth. Would they see beyond their fear? Would they understand what it meant to be human? Morning came too quickly, and with it, The final day of trial. Captain Kang stared at the blue paper in his hands. His face didn't move, but his eyes read the words over and over again. This couldn't be right. Is this some kind of joke? He asked the small green alien who had delivered the paper. The alien blinked all three of its eyes. No joke, Captain. You have been summoned by the Galactic Council. You must appear in 7 Earth days. Kang looked again at the paper. The words were clear. Captain Kang of Earth is hereby charged with crimes against sentient species, excessive force, and typical Deathworlder aggression. But I was defending a human colony, Kang said. Those raiders were attacking innocent people. The alien only shrugged and left Kang's office. The door closed with a soft hiss. Kang sat down heavily in his chair. The metal creaked under his weight. 3 months ago, he had led a defense of New Sol, a human colony on the edge of approved space. A group of aliens had attacked without warning. Kang and his team had fought back and saved many lives. Now, somehow, he was a criminal. He picked up his comm unit and called the one person he trusted with legal matters. Yuna, it's Kang. I need your help. Dr. Yuna arrived at Kang's apartment 2 hours later. Her usual neat appearance was missing. Her hair was tied back quickly, and she wore casual clothes. She had clearly come as soon as she could. Show me, she said without greeting. Kang handed her the blue paper. Yuna read it, her eyes moving quickly across the page. This is serious, Kang. The Galactic Council doesn't issue these often. I was just doing my job, Kang said. He poured 2 cups of tea and placed one in front of Yuna. Those raiders killed 12 colonists before we even arrived. Yuna set down the paper. It doesn't matter. The Council sees Earth as a problem. We're stronger than many species, we heal faster, and we don't give up easily. They call us Deathworlders because our planet tried to kill us for thousands of years, and we survived anyway. And that's bad. It scares them, Yuna said. She took a sip of tea. I'll represent you. Kang blinked in surprise. You're not a space lawyer. No, but I know you. And I know you didn't do anything wrong. Yuna tapped the blue paper. This isn't just about you, Kang. This is about all humans. They're using you as an example. 3 days later, Kang and Yuna boarded a ship to the Galactic Council station. The station orbited a neutral star, far from any claimed territories. As they prepared for light jump, Kang looked out the window at Earth. It was beautiful from space, blue and green and perfect. What if we lose? He asked quietly. Yuna was reviewing files on her tablet. She looked up. Then humanity might be restricted from expanding further into space. Or worse, we might be confined to our solar system. All because I defended a colony. All because they fear what they don't understand, Yuna corrected. You're just the excuse. The ship hummed as the light jump engines powered up. Kang gripped his seat. I'll need to know everything that happened at New Sol, Yuna said. Every detail. Kang nodded. There were 7 ships. They came without warning. No communication, no demands. They just started firing at the colony. And you responded with force. Yes, Kang said. I ordered my team to disable their weapons first. We only targeted their engines when they kept attacking. Yuna made notes on her tablet. Did you try to capture any of the raiders? We caught 3. They're in Earth custody now. Yuna's eyes widened. That's something we can use. The light jump alarm sounded. 3 tones, then the stars outside stretched into lines. As the ship jumped, Kang thought about New Sol. He remembered the faces of the colonists as they thanked him. He remembered the children he had helped evacuate. He had done the right thing. He was sure of it. But would a court of aliens understand? The light jump ended. Through the window, Kang saw the massive Galactic Council station for the first time. It was bigger than Earth's moon, a spinning wheel of metal and light. Somewhere in that wheel, a court was waiting to judge him. And through him, all of humanity. Professor Tai arrived early the next morning. He was an older man with silver hair and kind eyes behind simple glasses. His movements were slow and careful, nothing like the dangerous predator that Akhtar had described humans to be. "Thank you for coming so quickly," Director Park said as she welcomed him. Tai smiled. "When you said humans are on trial for being human, I couldn't stay away." After quick introductions, they gathered around the table. Ji-ho showed Professor Ta what they had discovered about the fake evidence. "Good work," Ta said, "but legal facts won't be enough. The Council doesn't fear what humans do. They fear what humans are." "What do you mean?" Kang asked. Tai took off his glasses and cleaned them slowly. "I've studied 93 different alien cultures. Most Council species evolved on planets with stable environments, predictable weather, few natural disasters, limited numbers of predators. Unlike Earth," Yuna said. "Exactly. Earth tried to kill humans every day for millions of years. Storms, floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, predators, disease. We faced it all and survived." Todd put his glasses back on. "This shaped human psychology. We adapt quickly. We solve problems in creative ways. We work together under pressure." "Those sound like good things," Kang said. "To us, yes, but to species that value stability and predictability, humans seem chaotic and frightening." Todd looked at each of them. "They fear what they don't understand. And what they don't understand is how we can be both fierce warriors and compassionate healers." "So how do we make them understand?" Yuna asked. "Show them both sides of humanity," Ta said. "Don't just defend Captain Kang's actions. Show why he acted that way." Ji-ho looked up from his computer. "I have the full records from New Seoul now. The raiders were targeting the colony's food supplies and medical facilities. They also tried to breach the children's education dome." Kang nodded. "That's why I responded with such force. They were threatening the most vulnerable colonists." "There it is," Ta said, pointing at Kang. "That protective instinct is core to human psychology. We fight hardest when protecting others, especially children." Yuna made notes quickly. "So we need to show that human aggression is actually protective, not predatory." "Yes," Ta said. "And we need to show that humans can choose when to use force and when to seek peace, that we're not controlled by our instincts." Director Park checked the time. "Court reconvenes in 2 hours. Yuna, can you build a defense around this?" "I'll try," Yuna said, "but we still need to counter Akhtar's biological arguments. He made it sound like our bodies make us dangerous." Ta smiled. "The same biology that makes us strong also gives us endurance to help others. The same quick reflexes that make us good fighters also let us catch falling children. The same pain tolerance that helps us survive also lets us put others' needs before our own comfort." Kang thought about this. "So every trait Akhtar presented as dangerous can also be seen as helpful." "Exactly," Ta said. "It's all in how you use what you have." For the next hour, they worked together on their defense. Ji-ho prepared data showing how human colonies had some of the lowest crime rates in the sector. Yuna built legal arguments based on Ta's cultural insights. Kang reviewed the full records from New Seoul, marking the moments when he had chosen restraint over force. As they prepared to return to court, Ta placed a hand on Kang's shoulder. "Remember, Captain, they expect a Deathworlder, a dangerous predator. Show them a protector instead." Kang nodded. For the first time since the trial began, he felt hope. Maybe they could win this case. Maybe they could show the galaxy who humans really were. "It's time," Director Park said. Together, they walked back to the courtroom, ready to defend not just Kang's actions, but humanity's right to exist among the stars. After the court session ended, Kang, Yuna, and Director Park returned to their assigned quarters. The rooms were designed for many types of aliens, with adjustable gravity and air settings. It felt almost like Earth, but not quite. "We need help," Yuna said. She spread her notes on a table. "Akhtar's evidence is edited. It doesn't show the whole story." Kang nodded. The raiders fired first. They ignored all warnings. But how do we prove it? Director Park touched a small device on her wrist. I've called for backup. 10 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. A young man with round glasses and a friendly smile entered. He carried a small case of equipment. This is Jai-Ho, Park said, our best data analyst. Jai-Ho bowed slightly. Captain Kang, Dr. Yuna, it's an honor to help. Yuna looked doubtful. We need more than an analyst. We need a miracle. Jai-Ho is our miracle, Park said with confidence. Show them. Jai-Ho opened his case and set up a portable computer. His fingers moved quickly over the keys. I watched the trial today. Akthar's evidence has been altered. Can you prove it? Kang asked. Yes. Jai-Ho pulled up the video that Akthar had shown in court. See these light patterns. The video has been cut. Parts are missing. He worked for another hour, pulling data from Earth's records and comparing it to what Akthar had presented. The others watched in silence. Finally, Jai-Ho sat back. I have it. The so-called trading ships sent no communication signals before approaching New Seoul, but they did send encrypted messages to each other. Can you decode them? Yuna asked. Jai-Ho pushed his glasses up. Already did. They weren't merchants. They were planning to raid the colony for resources and possibly hostages. Kang felt a surge of relief. This proves I was right to defend the colony. There's more, Jai-Ho said. These ships are connected to a group called the Void Reavers. They've attacked 3 other colonies in the past year. Why didn't the council know this? Park asked. Because the Void Reavers have friends in high places. Jai-Ho pulled up new data, including connections to 2 of the species that Akthar represents. Yuna's eyes widened. This changes everything. Park looked troubled. It may not be enough. There's more going on here than just this case. What do you mean? Kang asked. Park checked that the door was closed before speaking. Some council species fear human potential. They've watched our rapid progress over the last 50 years. We've adapted alien technology faster than any other species in council history. So this trial is just an excuse, Yuna said. Yes, certain factions want to limit human expansion before we become too powerful. Park's face was grim. They fear what we might become. Kang stood up and paced the room. So even if we prove I acted correctly, they might still rule against humans as a species. Exactly, Park said. We need more than just legal arguments. We need to help them understand humans. Jai-Ho looked up from his computer. I found something else. The witness, nav pilot seat. He wasn't even on the ships near New Seoul. He's lying. Yuna made notes quickly. Good work, Jai-Ho. Keep digging. There's another problem, Park said. Humans evolved on a planet with thousands of predators. We learned to recognize threats quickly. But most council species came from safer worlds. They don't understand our reactions. So we need to explain human psychology to aliens who think we're dangerous by nature, Kang said. Yuna tapped her tablet thoughtfully. We need an expert in alien psychology, someone who can help us understand how they think. I know just the person, Park said. I'll contact Professor Ta. He studied alien cultures for 30 years. As night fell on the station, the team continued working. Jai-Ho found more holes in Akthar's evidence. Yuna prepared legal arguments. Kang reviewed his own records of the New Seoul defense. Before they slept, Park received a message that Professor Ta would arrive the next day. Get some rest, she told the others. Tomorrow, we start fighting back. Kang looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, and all the human colonies that depended on the outcome of this trial. He couldn't let them down. The courtroom fell silent as Yuna walked to the center. Unlike Akthar, with his 4 arms and dramatic movements, she stood still and calm. Honored judges, she began. Yesterday you heard that humans are dangerous. Today, I will show you that humans are protectors. She nodded to Jai-Ho, who activated a display. It showed the complete footage of the New Sol attack, not the edited version Akthar had presented. As you can see, the ships approaching New Sol fired first. They ignored 6 warning messages from the colony. They targeted food storage, medical facilities, and Yuna paused. The education dome, where children were studying. Several judges leaned forward at the mention of children. Even alien species understood the importance of protecting the young. Captain Kang responded with carefully measured force. Yuna continued. His first shots disabled weapon systems only. When the raiders continued their attack, he targeted engines to stop them from reaching the colony. She turned to face Akthar. The prosecution showed you human strength and called it a threat. I show you how that strength was used to protect innocent lives. Akthar's blue skin darkened with anger, but he remained silent. Yuna called her first witness, a tall alien with silver skin. This is Ambassador Lith of the Monary. His people have worked closely with humans for 20 years. The silver alien bowed to the judges. Humans are our most valued allies. When a sickness spread through our colony on Beryl 9, human doctors worked without rest for days to save our children. They risked their own health to help us. Next, Yuna presented data compiled by Jao. Human colonies have 43% lower crime rates than the galactic average. Disputes are resolved peacefully 89% of the time. These are not the statistics of a violent species. She called more witnesses. A small furry alien told how a human had saved him from a fire. A floating jelly-like being described human cultural exchange programs. Through it all, Kang watched the judges. Some still seemed fearful, but others showed interest. The crystal judge sparkled more brightly when something pleased it. The insect-like judge clicked its mandibles during important points. Finally, Yuna returned to the center of the room. Now I will show you what the prosecution did not. The real reason Captain Kang acted with such force. Jai-Ho activated a new display. It showed scans of the raider ships, revealing hidden weapons and holding cells. These were not merchants, Yuna said. They were Void Reavers, a group known for taking hostages and stealing resources, and their primary targets at New Sol were children. A murmur ran through the courtroom. Even Akthar looked surprised at this revelation. Yuna's voice grew stronger. The prosecution claims human biology makes us dangerous, that we evolved on a world that tried to kill us. This is true, but it taught us something valuable. Life is precious because it is fragile. She walked closer to the judges. Humans fight fiercely when we must, but we fight to protect, not to destroy. Captain Kang did not use maximum force. He used minimum necessary force. He captured 3 raiders alive, even though it would have been easier to destroy all the ships. Yuna looked at each judge in turn. The question is not whether humans are strong. We are. The question is how we use that strength. At New Sol, Captain Kang used it to save lives, both human and alien. She returned to her seat beside Kang. He nodded to her, impressed by her presentation. Head Judge Exor floated forward. The court will now hear from Captain Kang himself. Captain, please step forward. Kang stood and walked to the center of the room. He could feel hundreds of alien eyes watching him. Some with fear, some with curiosity, some with hope. Captain, Judge Exor said, tell us in your own words why you responded with force at New Sol. Kang took a deep breath. This was his chance to show them who humans really were. Akthar moved with grace in the center of the courtroom. His 4 arms gestured as he spoke. Let me show you what happened at New Sol Colony, he said. His voice was smooth but cold. A large screen appeared in the air. It showed Kang's ships firing on the alien vessels near the colony. As you can see, the human ships attacked with extreme force. Akthar said, no attempts at communication, no warning, just violence. Kang leaned toward Yuna. That's not true. They're not showing what happened first. Yuna nodded and made notes on her tablet. Akthar continued. These ships were simple merchants. They approached the human colony to trade. Captain Kang's response was typical of humans. Shoot first, ask questions later. The screen changed to show images of damaged alien ships. 3 crew members died. 12 were injured. All because humans cannot control their aggressive instincts. The judges watched in silence. One of them, a being that looked like a tall insect, leaned forward with interest. Akthar waved 2 of his hands, and the images changed again. Now they showed diagrams of human bodies. "Let us examine the human species," he said. "Faster reflexes than 80% of council races. Muscles denser than 90% of council races. Pain tolerance higher than 75% of council races." He paused to let the numbers sink in. Humans evolved on a world that should have killed them. A death world with high gravity, extreme weather, and countless predators. They survived by becoming predators themselves. Kang felt his face grow hot with anger. Next to him, Director Park placed a warning hand on his arm. Akthar moved closer to the judges. "This is not Captain Kang's fault. It is his biology, his instincts. Humans cannot help being dangerous, just as fire cannot help burning." The courtroom was quiet. Many aliens were looking at Kang now. Their eyes were sensing organs filled with what looked like fear. "I call my first witness," Akthar announced. Nav Pilot Zeta of the trading vessel Bright Wind. A small alien with pale blue skin and large, sad eyes moved to the center of the room. It barely came up to Kang's waist. "Tell us what happened when you approached New Sol," Akthar said gently. The alien's voice trembled. "We were bringing goods to trade. We sent messages ahead. But before we could dock, the human ships appeared and began firing. We tried to run, but they were too fast." "And why were you near the defense perimeter?" Akthar asked. "We received no warnings about restricted areas. Our maps showed it was an approach lane." Kang whispered urgently to Yuna. They were using outdated maps. The colony sent warnings on all frequencies. Yuna nodded and wrote something down. "What did you feel when the human ships attacked?" Akthar asked the witness. The small alien shivered. "Fear, great fear. The humans moved so quickly. Their ships were so aggressive. It was like facing an ancient predator from our nightmares." Akthar turned to the judges. "This is what all non-Deathworld species feel when confronted with human aggression. Fear of something we don't understand and cannot match." He called more witnesses. Each told similar stories. A scientist explained how human adrenaline made them unpredictable. A diplomat described failed peace talks with Earth. Yuna took careful notes. Her face remained calm, but Kang could see worry in her eyes. When the last witness finished, Akthar returned to the center of the room. "Honored judges, I do not ask you to punish Captain Kang. I ask you to protect our peaceful galaxy from the danger that humans represent. Their bodies are built for violence. Their minds are shaped by struggle. They are simply too dangerous to be allowed free movement among the stars." He bowed to the judges. The prosecution rests. Head Judge Exor turned to the human table. "The defense will present tomorrow. This court is adjourned for today." As the aliens filed out, many glanced at Kang with new fear in their eyes. "This is worse than I thought," Yuna whispered. "They're not just trying to convict you. They want to cage our entire species." Kang looked down at his hands, human hands that aliens saw as weapons. "Then we'll have to show them who we really are," he said quietly. Kang's testimony had gone well. He spoke honestly about the attack on New Sol, explaining how he made each decision to protect the colonists, while minimizing harm to the attackers. When he finished, the mood in the courtroom seemed lighter. Some of the judges nodded as he returned to his seat. Court adjourned for a rest period. As Kang and his team left the courtroom, a small alien approached them. It had green skin with patches of gold and walked with a wooden cane. Its eyes were cloudy with age. "I am Han," the alien said in a whisper. "We must speak privately." Director Park looked suspicious. "You're from the Grell Collective. You're on Akthar's side." "Not all Grell agree with Akthar. Han said. Please, what I have to say may help you. They found a quiet room away from the main corridors. Han closed the door carefully before speaking. Many years ago, my species faced a similar trial, Han said. Other races called us too primitive to join galactic society. They feared our rapid learning and adaptability. Just like humans now, Yuna said. Han nodded. Yes, I see the same fear in their eyes when they look at you. Why are you helping us? Kang asked. Because fear should not decide the fate of a species. Han's voice grew stronger. Akthar and his allies want to keep humans contained because they fear what they do not understand. Can you testify for us? Yuna asked hopefully. Han shook his head. No, I would be branded a traitor. But I can tell you how the court thinks, how they judge. For the next hour, Han explained the psychology of each judge species, which valued logic, which responded to emotional appeals, which looked for signs of restraint and wisdom. The crystal judge, Pex, comes from a hive mind, Han said. Show unity and cooperation. The gas judge, Noor, values efficiency. Show how humans solve problems without waste. Jaiho took notes quickly. This is incredibly helpful. There is one more thing, Han said. Words alone will not convince them. They need to see human nature in action. How do we do that in a courtroom? Kang asked. Han's eyes twinkled. There is a situation developing in the terrorist sector, a dispute between mining colonies. The council has been unable to resolve it. Director Park looked interested. I've heard of this. 2 species claim the same asteroid field. Neither will back down. Yes, Han said. The council fears violence may break out. They need a neutral party to negotiate. Kang understood immediately. You think I should volunteer? It would show great courage, Han said. And it would demonstrate that humans can choose peaceful solutions even in tense situations. Is this allowed during a trial? Yuna asked. There will be a 3-day recess starting tomorrow, Han said. Judge Thor's species needs time to process information. If you act during this recess, it is not against the rules. Kang thought about the risk. If he failed, it would prove Akthar's claims about dangerous humans. If he succeeded, it might save humanity's place among the stars. I'll do it, he decided. Han seemed pleased. Good. I will arrange transport. You must leave tonight. After Han left, the team discussed the plan. It's dangerous, Director Park warned. The terrorist sector is unstable. I know, Kang said. But Han is right. We need to show them who humans really are, not just tell them. That night, Kang boarded a small ship bound for the terrorist sector. Yuna, Jeho, and Professor Ta would continue preparing their legal case. As the ship pulled away from the station, Kang watched the stars through the viewport. He was headed into unknown danger, but for the first time, he felt truly hopeful. Back in their quarters, Yuna received a private message from Honorable. It contained detailed information about each judge, including personal histories and cultural weaknesses. Use this wisely, the message said. Show them that humanity deserves its place among the stars. Yuna smiled. They had found an unexpected ally in this strange court. Maybe, just maybe, they could win this case after all. The final day of the trial arrived. The courtroom was packed with aliens from across the galaxy. News of the case had spread, and many wanted to see the outcome. Kang, Yuna, Director Park, Jaiho, and Professor Ta sat at their table. Across from them, Akthar and his team looked confident. In the viewing area, Han sat quietly, his eyes fixed on the judges' empty seats. A tone sounded, and everyone rose as the 12 judges entered. Judge Exor floated to the center. This court has reached a decision, Tor announced. The question before us was complex. Are humans, by their very nature, too dangerous for unrestricted movement in our peaceful galaxy? The room was completely silent. Kang could hear his own heartbeat. We have reviewed all evidence. We have considered both arguments. We have debated long into the night. Exor paused. And we have reached a unanimous decision. Kang felt Yuna's hand grip his arm tightly. This court finds that humanity is not inherently dangerous to galactic peace. A buzz of voices filled the room. Yuna closed her eyes in relief. Ji-ho grinned widely. Director Park's usual calm face showed a small smile. Judge Exor continued. Furthermore, we find that Captain Kang's actions at New Seoul were appropriate given the circumstances. All charges are dismissed. Akthar's blue skin darkened with anger. He started to speak, but Thor held up a hand. However, the judge said, this case has revealed an important gap in our understanding of different species. Deathworld species like humans have unique perspectives that must be recognized. The crystal judge Pex sparkled brightly as it added, we propose a new classification for Deathworld species, not as a restriction, but as recognition of their special attributes and contributions. The insect judge clicked its mandibles. Captain Kang's success in the terrorist sector showed that Deathworld instincts, when properly directed, can solve problems that have stumped us for years. Judge Exor nodded. Therefore, this court establishes a new Deathworld Integration Committee. Its purpose will be to help Deathworld species share their unique perspectives while adapting to galactic society. Exor turned to Kang. Captain Kang, in light of your diplomatic success, we ask you to serve as the first human liaison to this committee. Will you accept? Kang stood. I am honored. I accept. Then this matter is concluded. This court is adjourned. As the judges left, the room erupted in conversation. Akthar stormed out with his team, but many aliens approached the human table with congratulations. Han made his way to them, leaning on his cane. Well done, he said quietly. You have created a new path for humanity. Director Park bowed to him. We could not have done it without your help. My people once stood where you stand now, Han said. It is only right that I helped you as others once helped us. 6 months later, Kang stood at a viewing window on the Galactic Council station. Earth was visible as a distant blue dot. Next to him stood Yuna, now appointed as Earth's legal representative to the Council. The first human colony in the terrorist sector has been approved, Yuna told him. And 3 more species have joined the Deathworld Integration Committee. Progress, Kang said with a smile. And what about you? Yuna asked. How does the committee work going? Interesting. Challenging. I'm learning something new every day. Kang watched ships coming and going from the station. Yesterday, I helped design safety protocols for a mixed-species mining operation. They needed someone who could think about all the ways things could go wrong. A perfect job for a Deathworlder, Yuna said with a laugh. Exactly. We're good at survival planning. A group of alien children passed by on a school tour. They pointed at Kang with excitement, not fear. One brave child approached and asked for his handprint on their tablet. Kang knelt down and pressed his palm to the screen. The children chattered happily as they continued their tour. That, Kang said as he stood, is why the trial mattered. Not just for us, but for them too. The next generation won't grow up fearing humans. Yuna nodded. Being misunderstood isn't the worst fate. Never being understood at all would have been far worse. As they turned to leave, Kang took one last look at distant Earth. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge in the stars, not a war or a disaster, but a trial of understanding. And they had won not with weapons or strength, but with the very qualities that made them human. Adaptability, compassion, and the wisdom to know when to fight and when to make peace. The galaxy was a larger place than they had imagined, and humanity's place in it was just beginning. The docking area of the galactic courthouse was filled with beings from 100 worlds. Kang and Yuna stepped off their ship and into the crowd. Yuna gripped her tablet tightly. Kang stood tall, his eyes forward. Don't stare, Yuna whispered. It's considered rude in most cultures. Kang nodded. It was hard not to look. Some aliens floated in the air. Others moved on many legs. One group seemed to be made of light and shadow. A small robot rolled up to them, Captain Kang and Dr. Yuna of Earth? It asked in perfect Korean. Yes, Kang answered. Follow me, please. Director Park is waiting. The robot led them through wide halls made of a material that looked like marble but felt warm to the touch. Other beings moved aside as they passed. Some whispered, some pointed. Kang heard the word Deathworlder more than once. They entered a room where a woman in a formal blue suit waited. Her hair was gray at the temples, and her eyes were sharp. Director Park, Yuna said with a small bow. Park nodded back. Dr. Yuna. Captain Kang. Welcome to the Galactic Courthouse. This place is huge, Kang said, looking at the high ceiling. It's larger than Earth's moon, Park said, built to accommodate all member species of the Galactic Council. She gestured to seats around a table. Please sit. We don't have much time. Once they were seated, Park's face became serious. This case is about more than just you, Captain. So I've been told, Kang said. The Council has been watching Earth closely since we joined 50 years ago. Some species fear us. They think we're too aggressive, too unpredictable. Yuna tapped her tablet. Who is leading the case against us? Chief Prosecutor Akthar of the Vrel Confederation, Park said. He represents 7 species who have filed complaints against human expansion. A hologram appeared above the table, showing a tall, thin alien with 4 arms and skin like blue bark. Akthar has called humans dangerously unpredictable creatures in public statements, Park continued. He wants restrictions on human activities in space. What exactly am I charged with? Kang asked. Park touched a control, and a new image appeared. It showed Kang's ship firing on the raiders at New Seoul. Officially, excessive force and endangering sentient life, Park said. Unofficially, being human. Who will judge the case? Yuna asked. A panel of 12 representatives from neutral species. None of them have had much contact with humans before. So they'll be making their first impression of all humanity based on this case, Kang said quietly. Park nodded. Exactly. That's why this matters so much. A chime sounded through the room. Park stood. It's time. The court is ready. The courtroom was a vast circle. In the center was an open area where speakers would stand. Around it, rising in tiers, were seats for the 12 judges. Each judge was from a different species. Some looked almost human. Others were completely alien. One seemed to be a collection of crystals, another a cloud of gas in a special container. Kang, Yuna, and Park sat at one table near the center. At another table sat Chief Prosecutor Akthar and his team of aliens. Akthar's 4 hands were busy sorting through documents. In seats behind them, hundreds of beings watched. Most were reporters or diplomats from various worlds. A tone sounded, and everyone fell silent. A door opened, and a small, round alien floated into the room. It wore flowing robes with symbols of the Galactic Council. All rise for Head Judge Exor, a voice announced. Everyone stood. The floating alien, Judge Exor, moved to the highest seat. Be seated. Exor said in a voice that somehow reached every corner of the room without being loud. As they sat, Akthar looked across at Kang. His eyes were cold. This case is now in session, Exor announced. The Galactic Council versus Captain Kang of Earth, representing humanity's interests in space. Chief Prosecutor Akthar will present first. Akthar stood and moved to the center of the room. He spread all 4 arms wide. Honored judges, he began, I stand before you today, not just to prosecute one human, but to warn you of a danger to our entire peaceful galactic society. Kang felt a chill run down his spine. Beside him, Yuna started taking notes. The trial had begun.